you are back with us in London. Stand by for your last chance to enter our competition. First, let me just confirm the result of the last race of the season, the Malaysian Grand Prix. 4 out of the last 4 for Michael Schumacher. First time, by the way, he has won the last race of the season. David Coulthard in second place, then Barrichello. Hakkinen fourth, Jacques Villeneuve, crucial points there in fifth place, and Eddie Irvine making his point for Jaguar sixth. Final positions in the Drivers' Championship this season. Michael Schumacher, the 2000 World Champion, his third title. Then the reigning champion, Mika Hakkinen in second place. Coulthard third. Barrichello fourth. Ralf Schumacher for Williams in fifth place. Watch out for them next season. And Giancarlo Fisichella, who's been on 18 points for an eternity for Benetton. And in the Constructors, Ferrari retaining their title by a very clear margin from McLaren. BMW, Williams doing really well to take that third place. And indeed, Benetton getting fourth as a result of Fisichella's second place way back in Brazil from BAR. But that's 20 more points than BAR got last year. And Jordan have to be satisfied with 6. OK, now, Tony, did McLaren shoot themselves in the foot a little bit here today?
Yeah, unfortunately, Hakkinen fluffed on that start and he got ahead of himself the same way as Coulthard had done at Indianapolis. And then, as we'll see in a little while, David Coulthard had run wide when he was really putting the hammer down. So without that, as Martin had said, Hakkinen might have been inside. It was a tall order anyway. They needed to finish first and second. Ferrari needed them down no higher than fifth place. And it was a very tall order. Yeah,
we'll see that in a second. Personally, I'm just happy that Johnny Herbert has emerged. I know he's having x-rays on his left leg, emerged from a very, very nasty accident in his last Grand Prix.
Well, it's difficult to know what happens, but you see that left rear of the car disintegrate and just pitch him into the barriers here. It's a buckaroo job. It's nearly going end over end. Luckily, the tyre barrier's there, the big cushion it's taken. And there's Johnny coming out. Now, we said, and I said before the beginning of the programme, Johnny, don't go to Indianapolis, don't go and race those cars over there, don't go into those unyielding concrete walls, your legs can't take it. Now, Formula One is much, much safer than Indy racing. The cars can take it, the circuits are up to it, as we've seen. That's a big crash and he's emerged okay. He could have got a fracture from that. OK, precautionary x-ray on that left leg for Johnny Herbert. Let's go back and let's have a look at the start. And a bit like what Coulthard did in Indianapolis, this time it was Hakkinen's turn. Yeah, and it was looking good and it was fairly marginal, but the lights had just gone out and then already adjudged there that Mika Hakkinen had crept, although he got the car stopped again. The little sensors on the grid picked that up. And the best man here was David Coulthard, who went all the way down the outside and through that best. And Schumacher did not make a good start. He got a bit too much wheel spin again. But Coulthard was brilliant at the start, as was Villeneuve, who got up there really well. Now,
Coulthard had to take an earlier pit stop than anticipated, and this was due to him running wide, wasn't it, and picking up a bit of debris.
Well, James reported that temperatures had run high, which means that the debris that he picked up when he ran wide had filled the radiators. You and I were commenting during the race. We saw the strip-off visors that the drivers were taking off, and they'd had several layers of those and all the other dust and dirt on there. And if you run wide as well, you take it all in. Don't forget, this is an old rubber plantation where the cobras lurk, and there's lots of snakes around there. Never mind the debris.
Didn't quite get a snake,
here we are. This was when Coulthard, was in the lead there, and he was really, really putting it down, trying to get that gap away, because he knew he was making 2 stops at that particular time and increase the gap. But he ran wide. Tyre wear was another factor. We don't know how his tyres were wearing, whether he was called in early as well as the higher temperatures from the blocked radiator. Nice scrap in the middle of the race. Mika Hakkinen and Jacques Villeneuve, 2 world champions, and a good little cameo this, wasn't it? That was fabulous. This was shades of 91 for me and Senna and Mansell in the Spanish Grand Prix, and it was no holds barred. But you saw Villeneuve there just outbrake himself. He locked up and Hakkinen went through on the inside. And that's very much like in Indianapolis. If you remember when Villeneuve was chasing Frentzen, he outbraked himself then and went across turn one and gave it away. But that's Villeneuve, isn't it? Just, you're really gung-ho going for it.
Ferrari performed brilliantly in the pits for much of the season. All that three wheels on your wagon with Eddie Irvine, a distant bad dream really for them, isn't it? And a terrific stop for Michael Schumacher late on that meant really, well, the race is yours again.
But it's said that David Coulthard had always been a threat in the race, and Coulthard, if anyone, was the man of the race. He'd driven so well, and this Ferrari stop was in response to that. But at 6.6 seconds, Nigel Stepney, the English chief mechanic Ferrari, and his boys performed superbly, and that was the quickest pit stop of the race. In fact, got him out back ahead of Coulthard and confirmed, as you said, the lead, and then the win, the 44th for Michael Schumacher. And that, incidentally, 10 times now that Ferrari have won the drivers, and 10 times now they've won the constructors.
No question they deserve it this year, is there?
No, they've been absolutely superb, and constructors back-to-back for them as well. They work so hard. Difference for me is that Michael Schumacher wanted it so badly. He was so hungry. He came back after his broken leg, so fit. And remember when he came back here last year, he was wonderful as well. He held them all up. He had Hakkinen doubled up on the podium afterwards. He didn't know what to do with himself.
Good. OK, Tony, thank you very much. Well, now it's your last chance to enter our competition and get up close and personal with an F1 car. Here's your opportunity to ride in a Formula One car. We've teamed up with McLaren Mercedes for a chance to win the thrill of a lifetime. A ride in the back of their two-seater. Two lucky winners will get a day out at Silverstone and feel the breathtaking acceleration and awesome cornering force of a 750 horsepower racing car on one of the fastest tracks of all. The car's suitable for most people, but it can reach speeds of up to 200 miles an hour and corner at over 3G. So you'll need to pass a medical, be within the height and weight limits, and be 18 or over. You'll also have to answer these two McLaren-themed questions. Question 1. When did Mika Hakkinen make his Formula One debut? Was it A, 1991, B, 1992, or C, 1993? A, 91, B, 92, C, 93. Question 2. McLaren hold the record for the most wins in a season, but how many? Is it A, 13, B, 14, or C, 15? A, 13, B, 14, C, 15. And here is the number to dial: 09065 811 811. 09065 811 811. And the very best of luck to you all. OK, Tony, it seems like yesterday we were back in Melbourne. We were discussing Jenson Button's first race. Murray Walker, terrifically impressed by Jenson's first year. Were you?
Without question or a doubt. For me, he's a future world champion. He's been serene. He's been so cool. And Johnny Herbert paid tribute to him actually earlier in the week in Malaysia, and he said he's got everything. He said he's still a bit ragged. He still gets out of control. He said he's a bit like Mansell that way, but he's got lightning reactions and he gets the car back. And the key to it is nothing has fazed him. And look what he did at the really difficult circuits like Belgium in Spa, where he was up at third on the grid. And he was just magic.
Again, remember back to Australia, we were talking about the all-British team, the Jaguar team, a real sharp learning curve for them this year, though.
Well, Monte Carlo, they scored points with Irvine. Now they've scored a solitary point here. And I think that they're going to get better and better. They're planning this new facility up at Silverstone, which will be magnificent. Once they get it sorted out with the wind tunnel as well, I'm sure they're going to take it even further forward. Ron
Dennis has had a bit of a public smacking, hasn't he, over there in Malaysia. Do you expect McLaren, though, to hit back next year, finally?
Ron's been plotting that for the last three races, and I don't really think he can complain, about him looking at the political side of it and how in Japan what he was trying to do, see what he was trying to do. But he has had a slapping, as you've said. They lost pole position here, now they've lost the race, now they've lost the constructors. He'll just be thinking about 2001, how they can build the best car, how they can fight back, plotting revenge.
And despite the third world title, Schumacher back as strong as ever next season?
as strong as, I think, stronger than ever, because he's equalled his best of 9 wins in a season. That's best ever for a Ferrari driver. The last time that was done was in 52, 53 with a Sky.
You would remember that, of course. Listen, thanks for your company. Thanks for your company throughout the season, Tony.
Thank you.
Later on today, you have a chance to see a rerun of the Malaysian Grand Prix coming up just after 2 this afternoon. Highlights just before midnight, and that show repeats as always on ITV2 at 7. OK, thanks for your company throughout the year. Watch out for a Christmas Formula 1 special here on ITV. We'll be back in Melbourne in March. Tonight, as I say, I've just heard that Johnny Herbert has bad bruising on his left leg. That's all. We say farewell to him and to you. Bye-bye.
F1 on ITV in association with Texaco.
If you would like to know more about Formula